Happy Thanksgiving, Faith. We hope your holiday has been beautiful so far. Pastor Heather and I are here with you on Friday morning just to talk a little bit about the email you probably received on Wednesday, where I shared that I'll be reappointed, taking leave for a few months right at the end of the year. So Pastor Heather and I are just going to have some conversation about that for you this morning.
Yeah, so I think the first question or the thing that people would want to know is, what was it like after you discovered that it was time to move? How'd you process that?
You know, what I would say about that is that I had been restless for a little while before I discerned that. And as that became more clear to me, I finally had peace.
That's nice.
My experience of how God speaks to me is that it's never a lot, and it's very clear, and it makes me have peace afterwards. So it doesn't feel to me like a lightning strike or, anything huge. It's just sort of, I describe it like a bell. It's just clear. And once I heard that, and I shared with you in the email that what I heard was 8 years is enough, and it was just so simple and clear.
So how many churches have you served over the itinerary of your life?
Well, this is my sixth.
Okay,
Sixth
so a
appointment.
lot. Yeah. And what is the shortest time you've been in one appointment?
4 months.
Oh, well, that was because you were an interim.
That's true, yeah.
Yeah.
I was an interim pastor at Memorial Drive before I was appointed here.
And so would Choctaw be the longest because you did a building project? And that was 9 years?
8.
8 years.
I was there 8
Oh,
years.
so almost the same. So it's interesting. That seems to be the kind of sweet spot for you on when it's time to go.
Yeah, if it's a good appointment.
Yeah.
If it's not a good appointment, then it's much shorter.
Yeah.
But if it's a good appointment, 8 years seems to be about right.
I was telling Pastor Charla that I grew up in a county seat church and that we always kept everyone about 7 years, and very rarely did it go much longer. And it was like the congregation actually was like, oh, it's been 7 years. Isn't it time now for you? It was like we had the barrage, the 7-year itch that they talk about. But we thought maybe it was a good idea just to talk about how the United Methodist Church works and how itinerancy, that's a word most people aren't familiar with, but it goes all the way back to John Wesley.
Sure does.
And in the beginning of who we are as a church. So I'm going to let you do that because you're better at that.
Well, there are basically two ways that churches operate in terms of the way they're organized, and the big word that we use, polity. One is that each local congregation is autonomous, and so they make all of their own decisions about what missions they will support, what pastor they will call, how they will proceed if they have a building project, all of those kinds of things. That rests really with the local congregation. And then there's another system of organization that we're a part of here in the United Methodist Church called the connectional system, and that means that we are actually connected to each other United Methodist churches, through our annual conference in a very tangible way. And one of those ways, and Pastor Heather's right, goes back to John Wesley, is that the annual conference, which is a geographic region, decides within that region how the clergy are best deployed. And it's not the same as the military, but I find that a helpful metaphor, that there's an organization that decides where the employees can be best used. And what that means is that they have a bigger picture throughout the whole state of what churches need, what pastors need, and they can match that better. But that also means that I don't get to decide where I serve. Pastor Heather doesn't get to decide where she serves. And so we call that itinerating. In other words, we move where the bishop sends us to go. And we have say into that, and local churches have say into that.
That's why we have to do that paperwork every year
for
our charge conference, is that the church gets a chance to respond to how they feel about who they have and what they hope for. And the Episcopal Church is under this format, and the Catholic Church, so it's not just Methodist, it's also other connectional churches as well.
Yeah, and it's been really good for me over the course of my ministry. And the way I express that is I don't know that I'm really the best person to decide where I pastor. And I don't know that local churches really know exactly what they need in a pastor. And so to have a group, which we call the cabinet, the bishop and the district superintendents, who consult together about that and make those decisions, I find overall it's a more effective way to put the right clergy person in the right place at the right time. So
it also means that we never go without clergy. You may have friends that attend churches that the pastor leaves and they spend, a year searching for someone to replace them, and that won't ever happen in the Methodist Church. There's always someone who comes to fill a role. So of the last 7.5 years, what would you say you're most proud of that happened here at Faith?
For sure, the vision statement or the visioning process and our mission statement. That process was 9 months. It took a lot of energy. And for those 11 people who worked on that here at our church, they put in so much time and so much energy on behalf of this congregation. But then even after that, the congregation has put in a tremendous amount of energy in continuing that process of clarification that we discovered through the visioning process.
And I think that also brings a sense of comfort in a time of change, because we are very clear about who we are as a congregation, what our mission is, what our values are, and we know that. And I think for anyone who comes to Faith, that it's important that they buy into who we are, the DNA of this congregation, and what we're about, and the way we serve the world. So you're going to have 6 months off.
Yeah, I am.
I can't even imagine.
You can't.
How many years have you served without any significant time off like that?
Well, I did take a leave of absence when Elizabeth was 10 months old.
Okay.
And I was off for about 18 months.
Oh, how lovely.
And she is going to turn 22.
Oh, gosh.
In just a few weeks.
Yeah.
So that'll tell you about how long it's been. But,
Yeah.
From that point forward, I've been serving churches full time.
So speaking of Elizabeth, she's getting married in May by me here at Faith United Methodist. So since you're not going to have a church to focus on, what kind of mother of the bride do you think you might be?
Well, Faith, for those of you that are watching this and you've known me a long time, you probably know that as a mother of the bride, I'm just going to go along to get along. I want this wedding to be exactly what Elizabeth wants it to be. In any way that I can help her, I will. But I don't really want to be in the middle of all that. I just want to enjoy it.
Yeah, that's nice. Well, and I think as clergy, my daughter, she insisted when she got married that I be her mother. She didn't want me to be the clergy. She didn't want me to do the ceremony. She just really needed me to just be her mom that day. I think that's beautiful. And the fact that you all have this time, this is such a significant moment in her life, is such a blessing. So as you go, what kind of party do you want to have? Because we always have a party when someone retires or moves on.
We should have a party.
We should have a party.
For sure. I think about 7.5 years, you should have a big blowout. But, we're aware, Pastor Heather and I are aware that the COVID numbers are not really conducive, and especially at the end of the year, probably to, being masks off close together. And so really the thing I want for my party, Faith, I want to be able to give you suggestions of what you could do that would be a real blessing to me. And so I hope that at my party, I can share those with you, and you can take one. I'm going to have them written down for you, and you can take one. And as you participate in whatever it is that would be meaningful to me, if you want to, you can write me a little note, send it in the mail so that I can know how it blessed you. To me, that would be the best party of all. And of course, it fits our mission statement, inviting people to Christ-centered service. So that's what I want to do.
I'm hearing you say, I want to be clear, I'm hearing you say that you're going to invite people to do an act of mission in your name or on your behalf.
Yes.
And then you would like for them to share how that experience went as a gift to you. Oh, that's lovely.
Yeah, that to me, that would be a party.
Yeah.
And I expect that we'll have a gathering and
Of course.
we'll celebrate.
We're Methodist. That's
Yeah.
what we do. We will have a gathering. And right now we have that scheduled for December 26th. So the day after Christmas, if you want to gather with us, it would be a wonderful time to celebrate and say goodbye.
Yeah.
So.
We also have a one item of business, right?
Yes.
That we want to talk about, and that is Advent. Advent begins this Sunday. I don't know about you, Faith, but it's always one of my favorite seasons. Do you like it?
The sanctuary is so beautiful. Yes,
Yeah.
I do. I love it. It's almost like the chaos of getting ready for Christmas needs the Advent Sundays to help us just breathe and be at peace in the midst of that season. So
they do. They root us, I think, when we come together for worship each Sunday to remind us what we're really celebrating when Christmas morning arrives, and also to help prepare our hearts to receive the incarnation, the birth of Jesus Christ. And so we both, Pastor Heather and I, are really looking forward to the Advent season with you. The way that we're going to offer you some special devotional opportunities and ways to center with us. On Wednesday evening, Pastor Heather's going to be leading an in-person group at Living Water, including a meal.
At 6:30 in the evenings. So
Yeah.
we open the doors at 6. And it's a little potluck, but then I have one woman who makes the main dish. And so we welcome you to join us on South Elwood. So.
Yeah. So do that. If you'd like to have an in-person experience during Advent every Wednesday, that would root you. With that group, you all will be able to pray together and experience the Advent season. And then we're also providing an online option through Facebook Live. And so each Wednesday morning, beginning December 1st at 7 a.m., either Pastor Heather or I will be online on our Facebook page, and then we'll lead you through a time of morning prayer focused on the themes of Advent. So we hope you'll join us for that. That's coming up real soon.
Yes. So stay safe this holiday, and we hope we'll see you on Sunday.
That's right.